Bare feet and holy ground, and what realistically do they mean? And are we going to be dealing with that in the upcoming temple? And to give you the end result quickly, I think we will be having to be barefoot when we go to the temple. So let's kind of walk this through. And there's much more to this than I think we will know for quite some time until the return of the Messiah. When we come to Exodus 3, we hear as Moses goes to Mount Sinai, he says, take off your sandals for you're on holy ground. So Mount Sinai is holy ground, so you can't be there with sandals. Joshua, he's also told by the angel as they cross the Jordan River, take off your sandals for you're on holy ground. Most of the other times we see something with regards to being barefoot is because of mourning. Just tremendous aspects of sadness or humbleness or being humbled. But there's much more to it. But when we go back to the kingdom, is the temple on holy ground? And I would have to say, unless he's going to come out and say no, I'm assuming it is. Is the outer courtyard, is it holy ground? And again, unless he says differently, I assume it is. Did the priest wear shoes when they were doing their temple service? And we know from looking at the equipment that they have in Exodus 28, as we go through, we talk about the underwear they have, we talk about the ephod, the cloak, the robe, the breastplate, the turban, and the gold thing on top with the signet, the sign on this golden thing that's put on top of the turban. Nothing is mentioned with regards to footwear. Now again, we can't add or subtract, but if it's not there as it pertains to footwear, were they allowed to have shoes? And remember, when we go to Exodus 30, we are told they're to use the basin and to wash their hands and feet. Well, why would you wash your feet and then put on shoes? So it seems to me, again, this is just the assumption on that as they go in, that's on holy ground, so they can't wear sandals. Again, it doesn't say, but it's certainly implying that to be the case. And the next point comes in as we look at it, and we look at the current situation. In John 13, the Messiah comes in and he washes their feet. And let's kind of go through that quickly. And again, John 13, and he goes to Simon in verse 6, and Simon's of course saying, are you going to wash my feet? He goes, in verse 7, this is where the key comes in. You do not realize now what I'm doing, but later you will understand. And then that argument of, you're not washing my feet, and he goes, if you don't, you have no part of me. He goes, well, wash everything. He goes, no, those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body's already clean, and you are clean. Though not every one of you, where he's talking about Judas. And so let's kind of walk through where he has to do this explanation. And again, I think there's a factor here. And again, if they didn't understand, when he finished washing their feet, in verse 12, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. Do you understand what I have done for you? He asked them. And he just told them they didn't. Verse 13, you call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. I have set you an example, and again, he is the example, that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. And I don't know that we have dealt with this enough in our faith. And it's something that is beyond our comprehension, at least until we've returned some kind and gives us for greater understanding on this. But right now, we should be doing this. And again, if it's a blessing, then it should be a group event. You know, you bring in, when we have a Sabbath service potentially, bring in the basin, wash the person beside of you, and then they wash the person beside of them, and it kind of comes around so that everyone is blessed. And again, I don't know of anyone in our groups right now that are doing this, but if it's a blessing and he's telling us to do this, then should we not do it? Again, it's going to be a factor when we go back to the kingdom, and again, it's tied into this issue of priesthood. And I hope you can see that. Again, Moses, again, who was Moses? He was that leader. Who was Joshua? He was that leader. When they had to take off their sandals, for they were on holy ground. But then we have the Levites are to do that. And who are they? They're the leader basically of our tribes. You know, Levites are, again, I'm from the tribe of Asher. Levi's a higher tribe than mine. But it seems to me something that, again, we should be doing more of. It has a much greater significance. And again, if we go to the temple, is the outer portion of the temple holy ground? You know, and by outer portion I mean, you know, we've got the inner court and the outer court. If we're in the outer court, should we be barefoot? I would think we probably should be.